Yeah, so with deer season coming to a close here where I'm from, I just wanted to do a video on some classic deer rifles here. I wouldn't say a classic, honestly. This is a little bit more of an obscure rifle here. It's actually from England, so probably not so common here in good old US of A, but this is made in England. It's a BSA, Birmingham Small Arms. U9, I think, is the exact nomenclature that they use. Kind of an interesting rifle. It's chambered in an obscure cartridge as well, 284 Winchester, very obscure, and kind of more of maybe a modern type copy of a Mauser type action. And it's got the two, big front locking lugs. Doesn't have the big claw extractor, but basically a modified Mauser action. A pretty interesting rifle here, but the more interesting thing here is maybe, this was my granddad's elk and deer rifle for many years. He bought this in 1965, I believe, is when he got this rifle. Just a couple years after they introduced the 284. And that's the real interesting thing about this rifle, is the caliber that it's in. It's an interesting caliber. Hey, bud. Got a bone? Yeah, anyway, that's my dog. He's cute. So that's 284 Winchester. It's kind of a hoss. I'm going to compare it to a 308. That's 308 on the left, 30 caliber, and then you get the 284 Winchester on the right. It's quite a beast of a round for its time. Kind of influenced a lot of more the modern ELR cartridges, and this 284 has been kind of catching on with the long-range shooting community pretty recently. So, pretty interesting. This rifle hasn't been shot a whole lot recently. I've only ever put about 5 rounds through. That was a lot more complicated than it needed to be. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this rifle except for, the fact that the scope on it is way underpowered for the cartridge that it's chambered for. But I guess in the mid-60s, this is just about all that you can expect out of a scope is a 2-to-7 power. But for a rifle or a cartridge that's, capable of shooting well beyond 1,000 meters, this scope is well underpowered. And also, something to point out is this rifle has a factory muzzle brake. And this is, a rifle from probably 1964 or 65, I believe, is probably about when this was produced. And, to see a rifle come off the factory line with a muzzle brake on it is not something you'd think of in the 1960s. So, yeah, very interesting rifle. You don't see the British, I don't know, Macmillan and all them, they still make really nice, fine rifles over there in England. But, for the price, I'm sure this was probably a pretty budget rifle, and it was in a very hot roddable caliber for the time. And, you just don't see that kind of stuff coming out of there in England anymore. They made real nice, interesting rifles back in those days. And, it's an Australian Shepherd, so he's kind of, he's got some lineage here. The Australians, I'm sure they'd appreciate a piece of, a little bit of British history here, and it's just a shame, that such a historic nation with a lot of fantastic gun building skill could go the way it has gone. But that's just the way it goes, and we'll just hold on to this for you in the time being over there in England. We'll hold on to these for you until you get your senses about you, and we'll take care of them for you. So, peace out, and we love you, even though kind of dumb.